Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be revealing the progress of my variegated string of hearts propagation. I believe we started the prop 3 months ago, so there's a lot of new growth. It is looking chef's kiss. One small thing, unfortunately I already filmed this entire video only to find that my camera had immediately stopped recording when I started recording the original video. So in that video I had gone over questions that you guys had asked me, I'd gone over all of the care information, I'd showed the progress of the plant in the original pot, I repotted the entire plant, and then I went over how I was going to continue to take care of it now that it's been repotted. And unfortunately all of that is gone into the ether because 2020 baby. I wanted to say thank you guys for being here. I got a lot of DMs on Instagram and a few comments on TikTok asking when I would have an updated video up. Today is our day. We're not gonna let this bring us down. So yeah, I just wanted to say thank you guys so much for your support, and I'm glad that you guys are excited to see this video as I am to make it for you, because I'm really impressed with how these guys have done. So without further ado, here is our little baby prop all grown up. I apologize in advance for the quality. It's not going to be stellar in this video because clearly I can no longer trust my phone. We can't have 4K. We can't have nice things. It's 2020. What are we thinking? But anyhow, as you guys can see, it's filled out quite a lot. When I did repot this, there were some incredible roots on some of these babies. Like, we're talking like 3 or 4 inch long roots. So I was really impressed with that. The original medium that these were propped in is still holding up really well. I'm really happy with it. I believe, if I'm recalling correctly, that it is a mixture of succulent and cacti mix and pumice, and I really recommend that for propagating these. It went really well. If you don't have access to pumice, that's totally fine. You can use perlite. It's gonna do pretty much the same thing. I just prefer pumice personally, but I'm super impressed with that. There's tons of new vines. It's put out so much new growth. The roots were a lot bigger than I expected, so I'm really impressed with how this has all gone. The vines were trailing out of the original pot. You can't really tell because I've kind of put them around the top of the pot because I really want them to fill out more in their new home. So yeah, I'm super impressed with how everything went. I did repot into succulent and cacti mix, some pumice, and some perlite because I did run out of pumice. And going forward, I'm going to keep the Ziploc bag over top because I did disturb the plant. I wanted to get more established in its pot, in its new home. So I'm going to keep the bag over for probably, I don't know, maybe like a month or two. I did get a lot of questions from you guys about how long before I repot these props and how long before I would take the Ziploc bag off. So after my experience repotting into this pot, it was actually a little bit difficult because I realized that I didn't really want to disturb the plant. So I would recommend propagating these into the pot that you want them to stay in, because then you don't have to disturb them, you don't have to go through getting them settled in a new pot again. I would really just recommend putting them where they belong in the first place, because once I actually went to repot them, I was a little bit worried. I would highly recommend that you pot these up as cuttings into the pot that you want them to stay in. If you don't want to, that's fine. I just think it's a lot easier in the end. And I do find that they propagate really well in ceramic too. You just want to be careful that you're not watering them quite as often. As for watering, I did get some questions about that as well. I only watered these probably when I remembered about it. I have a lot of plants, so I could go weeks without really thinking about it, but I would say that I watered these guys probably every 3 or 4 weeks, which isn't really a lot. In ceramic, I don't think that's a big deal, but if you are propagating these in a nursery pot or terracotta, you may want to water them a bit more often, maybe every week or two, especially now that it's summer. I would just go by watering it whenever it's dry. And you don't want it to be soaking all the time, you don't want it to stay wet, you want it to dry out for sure. So I would say every week or two. And I'm not sure if that would have created bigger leaves on my propagations or if they'll fill out over time, but that's definitely something that I'm going to experiment with now that they've been repotted. I'm definitely going to try and remember to water these guys every week or two and see how that affects the size of the leaves. Just to reiterate, I did have these sitting in a northeast window where they get lots of bright sun during the morning and then they get some bright indirect light for the rest of the day. Another question that I got asked a lot was when to remove the Ziploc bag or whatever you were using to make a humidity dome or a mini greenhouse for the propagations. And I honestly, if I was going to keep them in the pot that they were in, I would probably have removed the Ziploc bag the other day when I checked on them and decided to make an update video. But it's not really going to hurt them to have the extra humidity. I know a lot of people who will buy a 4-inch or a 2-inch variegated string of hearts from the store and they just put them in a cloche to add some extra humidity. Personally, I find that these plants do really, really well with extra humidity, so it's definitely not going to hurt them. I think I'd leave it up to personal preference. If you think that they're doing really well and you want to keep going with having a Ziploc bag over top, that's great. Or if you want to see how they're going to do on their own, that's also great. I would really just say it's up to personal preference and see what works best for you. Well, unfortunately, I'm pretty sure that's about it now. I don't really have a lot else to add, other than to say I'm really, really impressed with how this went. Thank you guys who reached out to me with questions, who DM'd me on Instagram, everyone who inquired about when the update would be up. Today is our day. That's so exciting. And if you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them below in the comments, or you can DM me anytime on Instagram. I'm going to have all of the links to my Instagram and everything below, and I will also include the link to the original video if you haven't seen it yet. But yeah, I'm really excited for this baby to grow and fill out its new pot, get really juicy, and yeah, maybe I'll do like an end of summer update to see how these guys have filled out over the rest of summer. So if you guys want to see that, let me know. Thank you guys so much again for being here. Thank you for sticking with me, even though the original video is gone forever. But yeah, if there's anything else that you guys want to see, definitely let me know. And yeah, thanks for being here. I hope that you guys are all doing really well. There's a lot going on in the world right now, so stay well, be kind. Thanks for being here.